Snapmaker Dual Extrusion 3D Printing Module has two hot ends that can be heated up to 300 degrees Celsius, supporting multiple high-performance materials. It's more powerful, yet easier to use. In this video, we'll take Snapmaker A350T as an example to show you how to install Dual Extrusion Module on Snapmaker 2.0 3-in-1 3D printer and print with dual material. We'll follow these 5 steps. Update firmware, install the module, calibrate the module and platform, generate G-code, and start printing. When installing the module, we'll demonstrate the situations of with and without enclosures separately. Take out the following parts and tools from the package: Dual Extrusion Module, Filament Holder Sheet, Filament Holder Tube, Thumb Screw, Calibration Card, Cable Clip, Filament Tube Clip, Double End Stud, M4 by 12 screws, and M4 by 10 screws. If you're using the enclosure as well, you will also need the filament tube and its holder, and a sliding nut. And you need to find 2 rolls of filament of distinct colors, like black and white, from your own collection. Finally, find the screwdriver that came with your machine and attach the H2.5 bit. Before using the Dual Extrusion Module, you need to update the touchscreen firmware to version 1.15.21 or later. If your touchscreen is installed with the firmware of version 1.9.0 or later, you can update via Wi-Fi or USB flash drive. Otherwise, USB flash drive is the only choice. For Wi-Fi update, turn on your machine first and make sure it's connected to a Wi-Fi network. Swipe left on the touchscreen and tap Settings, Firmware Update. Check for updates. Update now. Complete. If you're using a USB flash drive, go to Snapmaker official site and click Support, Product Support, Dual Extrusion 3D Printing Module, Firmware, to download the firmware to your flash drive. Then, insert the USB flash drive into the controller on your machine and turn it on. Swipe left on the touchscreen, tap Files, USB, and select the firmware file to update. If your machine is not installed with the enclosure, first of all, make sure the power is off. Remove the original tool head and attach the Dual Extrusion Module to the slider on the X-axis with 4 M4 by 8 screws. Next, attach the 2 cable clips to the X-axis and the Z-axis with 2 M4 by 10 screws. Here you can see where and in which directions you should place them. Connect the module to the controller with the toolhead cable that came with the machine and clamp it into the cable clips. Here you need to spare enough cable length for the toolhead to move. After that, screw the thumb screw into the filament holder tube. Fix the filament holder tube to the sheet with an M4 by 12 screw, as demonstrated, to form a new filament holder. Finally, remove the cable clip that came with the machine and attach the new filament holder to the other Z-axis with 2 M4 by 10 screws. Now it's ready to work. If you have installed your machine with the enclosure, open the doors and fold them up. Move the toolhead and platform to proper places, as shown here, to make it convenient to change the toolhead. The ways to attach the module are the same with or without the enclosure. You can follow the steps in the previous part of this video. When it's done, remove the original filament holder from the enclosure and separate its tube from sheet. You'll only need the tube here, so you can put away the sheet for now. Fix the 2 filament holder tubes on both sides of the new filament sheet with the double end stud. Next, insert the sliding nut into the beam on the left of the enclosure and place it right above the snap bushing. Fix the new filament holder on the sliding nut with an M4 by 10 screw. Then press both sides of the snap bushing from inside the enclosure and push it out of the panel. Now you can put in the filament tubes and their holder from outside instead. Finally, remove the tube fixtures from the filament entry, insert the filament tubes into the module, and put the fixtures back. It's all set up. After the assembly, turn on the machine and read the safety notes and tap Confirm. The machine will automatically enter the guide process, leading you through the calibration process before your first time use. The calibration guide includes 3 parts: leveling and Z-offset calibration, XY offset calibration, and offset calibration check. First, tap Start, and the heated bed will be automatically heated up to the default temperature of 60 degrees Celsius. When it reaches the target temperature, tap Start Leveling. Then, the module will measure the distance between the nozzle and heated bed at some specific spots, so that it can adjust its movement to maintain the optimal distance throughout the printing process. When leveling is done, the machine will automatically go through the Z-offset calibration process. The 2 nozzles will move in turn to obtain the Z-axis height of the module when the nozzles just touch the heated bed. This ensures that the nozzles are always at the same height during printing by making real-time adjustments to the movement of the module. After finishing the Z-offset calibration, tap Next to move on to the XY offset calibration process. This calibration realizes the optimal print quality of both nozzles in the horizontal direction and avoid crossovers between different colors and materials. You need to load the filaments before it begins. To make sure the calibration goes well, you need to load PLA filaments of distinct colors into the 2 nozzles. Here, we'll use black and white filaments for demonstration. If your machine is not installed with the enclosure, you can hang the black filament onto the left filament holder and the white one on the right, and cut the bending end of the filaments using the diagonal pliers. Tap Load Filament and follow the prompts on the touchscreen to heat the nozzles. When the nozzles reach their target temperatures, tap Load, and then insert the black filament into the left nozzle. When the filament extrudes successfully, tap Stop Loading. Tap the touchscreen to shift to the right nozzle, and repeat the previous steps to load the white filament into the right nozzle. Finally, use the tweezers to clean the nozzles. Go back to the page before loading and tap Start. If your machine is already installed with the enclosure, you need to hang the filaments onto the filament holders outside the enclosure and cut the bending end of the filaments using the diagonal pliers. Insert the black filament into the filament tube on the left and the white filament on the right, and push the filament close to the filament entry. Next, tap Load Filament and follow the prompts on the touchscreen to heat the nozzles. When the nozzles reach their target temperatures, tap Load. Now you need to insert the black filament into the left nozzle through the tube holder continuously until the filament extrudes successfully. Tap the touchscreen and shift to the right nozzle, and repeat the previous steps to load the white filament into the right nozzle. Finally, use the tweezers to clean the nozzles. Go back to the page before loading and tap Start. During the XY offset calibration, the machine will print a calibration model of overlapping lines in the X and Y orientations, respectively. If the printing is successful, you can remove the prints from the print sheet and tap Next. Look carefully and find the pair of lines where the top line is most horizontally centered on the bottom line. Choose them as the best pair of lines on the touchscreen and tap Save Complete. The next step is Offset Calibration Check. The machine will print a built-in model to check if the offset calibrations are successful. This step is recommended if you are using the module for the first time. Tap Start, and the machine will automatically print a cross-shaped dual-color model. If the printing succeeds, tap Next. First, you need to check the Z-offset calibration. See if the differently colored areas on the model are flush with each other. Choose Yes or No, and tap Next. Then, you will check the XY offset calibration. Remove the model from the print sheet. Check if the outer squares can be broken off, and make a selection too. If all succeed, tap Complete. Otherwise, you need to follow the prompts to redo one or both calibrations. Now, you need to use Snapmaker Luban software on your computer to generate a G-code file for printing. You can either connect the machine to the computer to print online, or copy the G-code file to the machine with a USB flash drive and operate on the touchscreen. Here, we'll demonstrate the first method. Open Snapmaker Luban. Click Settings, Machine Settings from the menu bar and choose the model of your machine. Change the 3D printing module to Dual Extrusion. Make sure your computer and machine are connected to the same Wi-Fi network. And then enter Workspace from the home page and choose Wi-Fi in the connection panel at the top left corner. Click the Refresh button and select your machine from the drop-down list. Click Connect. Now go to the touchscreen and you'll see a pop-up window. Tap Yes to allow the connection. After the connection succeeds, click back at the top left corner of the workspace to return to the home page and click 3D Printing to enter the 3D Printing G-code generator. Follow the prompts from Luban and finish the beginner's guide. In this process, Luban will automatically load the test model from the case library and generate the G-code. You can also import your own file by clicking the File button and configure the parameters manually. For the meaning of each parameter and the way to set it, you can refer to the user manual online. Click Export. Load G-code to Workspace at the bottom right corner. Then you can see a preview window popping up from the workspace. Click Start Job, Start on Luban at the bottom right corner. Here goes your first print. During the printing, you should keep the front cover of the Dual Extrusion Module closed. If you are facing issues like poor first layer adhesion, you can also refer to the online user manual of the module to find solutions. When the print is finished, wait until the nozzles in the heated bed cool down to room temperature. Now, you can remove the print sheet from the heated bed and place it on a stable and flat surface. Use the palette knife to remove your print. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching.